When the killer shows up at the crime scene before the cops, you'd think they'd be caught red-handed. But there are times when it's not that straightforward. Here are 3 cases when the killer is the first to arrive at the murder scene. In May 2017, in the quiet town of Bel Air, Ohio, the police found a man named Brad McGarry dead in his basement with a gunshot wound to his head.
What's wrong? 911, where's your emergency?
Hi. Let's stay there.
Where are you at?
No, what's... Wagner?
Okay, what's going on?
I don't even know.
You don't know what's going on?
Is he breathing? Oh my God. My husband's dead.
Okay, is that your husband?
My husband's freaking out, yes. His best friend.
When the police arrived at the scene, they spoke with David Kinney and his wife Cherry, who were longtime friends of the victim.
I can't believe that.
How long you guys been together?
8, 9 years.
Oh yeah.
My kids call him Uncle. He's supposed to go to the Bahamas with us in August.
Best buds, I think.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
He met him at coal mining classes years ago, and we just took him in his family.
I'm trying not to freak out. I'm sorry. I can't not see that. I'm not supposed to see that, man.
David explains to the cops why he was coming to Brad's house and what he saw.
That right there is a weed eater, is the whole plant.
Okay. The weed eater?
Yes, sir. We come to the basement door and knocked, because my daughter knocked on the front door. I told her, I said, Sis, go knock on the back door. She went up and knocked on the back door. Door was open. I went up right behind her. I noticed that the kitchen was scattered. There was stuff all over the place. I told my wife, I said, Cherry, something's wrong.
Upon entering the basement, the officers discovered Brad McGarry's lifeless body lying face down on the floor, surrounded by a pool of blood. As the police explore the house, they notice that it seems like someone made a big mess inside. Strangely, they realize that nothing seems to have been taken, even though there are new phones scattered around, a big TV, and even money lying on the floor. This makes the police think that maybe the whole break-in was fake. When the coroner arrives, they examine Brad's body and see a gunshot wound on his head. They ask if a gun was found, but there's no gun in sight. It was a mystery.
I don't see a firearm.
No, I didn't either.
They flipped him over, they didn't see a gun. And that's the case, it wasn't no suicide. He's a rigger. Who found him? People outside.
McGarry had recently ended a relationship with a man named Scotty, whose last name was unknown.
He might have an issue with it.
He's the last relationship he was in. It was pulled off, and he hasn't been with anybody ever since.
Who was the
Well, no,
It
it
was the guy.
girl? He was in with the guy?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay, who was the guy?
Scott
Scotty.
something.
Oh man.
So, the police went over to Scotty's house, but instead, Scotty's mother answered the door. She explained that Scotty had been in jail for the past 3 months because he violated his probation. This was a relief, but it also made the case more puzzling. The cops decided to turn to technology for help. They searched the neighborhood to see if any cameras were pointing towards Brad's house. Luckily, one of the neighbors had a camera that faced the street near Brad's house. Using that camera, they started questioning everyone. They could watch the camera footage to figure out who had been coming and going from Brad's house. Meanwhile, they kept talking to Brad's friends and family. David had taken some photos and saved messages that could be useful for the detectives, so they took his phone to look at that information. Just when the police were stuck and didn't know where to go next in their investigation, a surprising revelation came from Brad McGarry's cousin, Schuler Strasser.
Sunday, we went to Grammy's. We were sitting around the table. It was just me and Brad and Heather, which is another cousin of mine. And he made a comment how this DJ guy, he was coming over. Brad's intent was it was romantic. He made a joke about taking a nap. And it wasn't taking a nap. He was insinuating that they were having sex. It was like quotation marks.
This was Sunday.
This was
The
Sunday.
day he was killed.
Yes.
Strasser shared that just a few hours before Brad's death, Brad had told him about a man named DJ who had been visiting his house. Strasser also said that Brad McGarry hinted they were in a romantic relationship, but DJ was married and hadn't told his wife yet.
Brad told you.
Yeah. She, being the wife, didn't know all this time. They've been doing this for years.
So detectives suspected it might be David Kinney. The detectives tricked David into thinking they took his phone for his pictures. but they were secretly tracking where his phone was during Brad's murder. They also looked for evidence of a more-than-friends relationship between David and Brad. Even though David deleted things, they found text messages showing they were in a sexual relationship. They checked the phone history and saw David's phone was at Brad's house when the murder happened. They also saw on a neighbor's camera that David had driven to Brad's place in his wife's car, stayed for a while, and left. Later, he returned with his family, bringing a weed eater Brad supposedly wanted to borrow. The police were sure David was there when Brad was killed, and now they needed to find the truth about him. After Brad McGarry's cousin revealed the information, the police held David Kinney for questioning.
Where's your phone putting you at Brad's house the time he got killed? It was past 3.
I was not there when Brad was killed.
You were at his house.
Yes, sir.
I'm the murderer. You were
Oh,
there.
God.
You know exactly when he was killed.
Yes, sir, I know.
You were there when he was killed.
No, sir, I was not at his house when that man was murdered. Sir, I can't.
This is the kind of shit that gets people in trouble.
Oh, my God, I know.
We're gonna lose everything. Lose your wife, lose your kids.
Kinney confessed to having a romantic relationship with McGarry and hiding it from his wife Cherry for months. When the police showed him the troubling cell phone data, David admitted he was at Brad's house, but claimed there was a third unknown person who shot Brad during an argument. This person let David go after threatening him to stay quiet.
He sure will. He had another guy with him. I don't know who he was. I don't know his name. I'm swearing on everything. Just holy right now.
What happened next?
He went in the garage.
It's okay. David. Look at me in the eye, bud. Tell me. What happened next?
He was so scared.
The cop instantly knew that this was a made-up story.
Drop all this shit and just let it out. Brad deserves it. Brad's family deserves it. Your wife deserves it. Your kids deserve it.
Brad didn't want me to leave my wife for a while. I love my wife and kids to death.
You love Brad too.
I did. I mean,
Did sometimes you think about leaving your wife for him? Okay.
I told him numerous times, man, I'm not gonna leave my wife. Kid me, smacked me around a couple times. He said, "If you end all of this now, then I'm done with you forever." He got real loud with me. You know, kind of like up in my face. He had those little derringers.
Cross the line, man. Stop. Look at me. Let it go. Tell me what happened next.
He had it in his hand. Just kind of like waving it at me, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Telling me, you know, you're up, I'm tired of you, I can't think of my emotions this long just to call it quits. He kept waving it at me, so I grabbed it.
Okay. What happened after you grabbed it?
I pushed him.
Okay. And what happened?
I saw.
After this, he stopped talking and asked for the lawyer. Then in February 2018, Brad was convicted of murder. But now we move on to a case where a woman and 2 kids just disappear with no clues left. On August 13, 2018, a 34-year-old woman named Sheenan Watts returned home to Colorado after a work trip with her friend Nicole Atkinson. Later that day, Sheenan and her 2 young daughters, Bella, 4 years old, and Celeste, 3 years old, were reported missing. Nicole, who was worried about Sheenan, tried to call her, but couldn't reach her. Sheenan also missed a doctor's appointment, so Nicole called Shannon's husband Chris at his workplace and asked the police for help. The police arrived and decided to search the house.
How long have you guys been married?
So, we've been together 8 years, married 6 this year.
Okay. And this is very unusual behavior?
Yeah, we can get that dog out of here.
Okay.
She's gonna...
The officers instantly asked Chris about the access to the doorbell camera.
Oh, that was...
No, the doorbell, is that a ring doorbell?
Yeah, like when you got a visitor, it does, but I don't think the speaker is on to where you hear it, like by...
Okay. My question for you is, would it show her leaving with the kids? Did you have any alerts?
If she came out here, yes.
Did you have any alerts today with that?
Just when her friends were here.
Does it only record when the doorbell rings, or anytime someone?
If you're right here, it should just start the proximity.
Chris told the officers he only saw one thing that was weird the day Sheenan went missing.
And the only thing that was weird was that the garage door said as left open after I left. And it might have been the sensor, but my phone doesn't show when
For your alarm?
Yeah, it doesn't show if it shuts.
And who's your alarm through?
Vivint.
Okay.
But Nikki, her friend that came here about 12:10, she said the garage door was shut when she got here.
Upon investigation, they didn't see any signs of some bad thing happening, but they find Sheenan's keys, cash identification, and phone still in the house.
Her cash, all her ID, everything's still here. Phone's here.
The officers decide to leave before telling Chris to tell Sheenan to call the cops when she returns home.
You're trying to get a hold of her and she won't talk to you, so have them refer her to us if they know where she's at.
Okay.
Saying.
Just so whatever's going on between you guys, that's between you guys, and she doesn't want to talk to you, that's fine. We just don't want to waste resources looking for her if she's actually okay. So, if you can relay to the friends, hey, I understand she doesn't want to talk to us, at least have her call the police so that they know she's okay.
Okay.
The Colorado Bureau of Investigation then sent out alerts saying Sheenan and her two daughters were in danger and missing. In the days that followed, Chris's story started to shift a lot. At first, he told the police that he didn't know where Sheenan, Bella, and Celeste were. He even talked to the media, asking the community for help to find his missing family.
I have no idea where they went. And it's just earth-shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from.
At the same time, the investigators from the local police, the CBI, and the FBI were looking into Chris's phone records. They found out that he had been having a romantic relationship with one of his coworkers from Anadarko Petroleum. Then, on August 15th, just 2 days after his wife and daughters went missing, Chris didn't pass a lie detector test. That's when things took a big turn.
Chris, did Shanann do something to them?
No, I don't know.
I'm curious.
I have no clue.
Your wife and your daughters.
Okay.
Where are they?
That I do not know. I was holding back from last night.
That's
when you
why
talked
you failed today.
That's not how that works.
Later that day, Chris promised to tell the truth to the police, but he wanted to talk to his dad first. The investigators took a chance and let him do that. It turned out to be a good move because Chris confessed to his dad that he had harmed his wife.
You smell it? Or choking?
I didn't hear anything. When I was downstairs, I came back up and they were gone. Talking to her about separation and everything, and she lost it.
Soon after, the investigators found the bodies of Sheenan, Bella, and Celeste right where Chris said they were, at an Anadarko Petroleum place. Sheenan was in a not very deep hole, and the two girls were in big containers filled with oil. On August 21, 2018, Chris was accused of causing his family's death. At first, when Chris confessed, he said that he strangled Sheenan because he got really angry after he saw her trying to harm Bella and Celeste. He said they argued because he wanted to separate and end their marriage, and she reacted by hurting the girls. After he harmed Sheenan, he took all three of their bodies to the oil site and buried them. But by November, Chris had changed his story again. This time, he admitted to killing his wife and daughters and said he was guilty of all 9 charges against him. 5 for first-degree murder, including 2 extra because the girls were young, 1 for ending a pregnancy unlawfully, and 3 for messing with dead bodies. In the end, he got 5 life sentences, 3 one after the other and 2 at the same time for the murders, and another 84 years for the other crimes. The last case is a strange one on Thanksgiving Day. Once upon a time in Woodland Park, Colorado, lived a young woman named Kelsey Barrett. She was 29 years old, a loving mother to a 1-year-old daughter, and an accomplished pilot. Kelsey was known for her radiant smile, her kind heart, and her dreams of a bright future. Little did she know that her life would soon take a terrifying turn. It all began on a crisp November morning in 2018. Kelsey's fiance, Patrick Frazee, made a frantic call to the police, reporting that Kelsey had gone missing. He told the authorities that the last time he saw her was on Thanksgiving Day when he dropped their daughter off at her home. According to Patrick, Kelsey had not responded to his messages, and her car was still parked at her house. Concerned for Kelsey's safety, the police initiated a search operation and started piecing together her last known whereabouts. They spoke with her family and friends, who also expressed deep worry about her sudden disappearance. Kelsey was a responsible and dedicated mother, and it was out of character for her to vanish without a trace. As the days turned into weeks, the police began to uncover a series of strange and concerning details. They discovered that Kelsey's cell phone had last pinged near Gooding, Idaho, hundreds of miles away from her home in Colorado. This raised questions about how she could have traveled such a distance without anyone noticing or leaving any clues behind. The police also learned about the troubled relationship between Kelsey and Patrick. Friends and family members revealed that they had noticed tensions between the couple and that Kelsey had been considering ending their engagement. As they delved deeper into the investigation, a chilling narrative began to emerge.
Just because you are married or engaged or have a relationship with someone that goes missing does not make you a kidnapper or a killer. But the reality is, well over 70% of missing women have gone missing at the hands of their love object, be it their husband, their boyfriend, their ex. Cops cannot ignore that.
Detectives began to suspect that Kelsey may not have disappeared of her own accord. They started to focus their attention on Patrick Frazee, who had seemingly reported her missing, but appeared to be withholding crucial information. The pieces of the puzzle slowly came together. During their investigation, the police found surveillance footage that showed Patrick visiting a store to purchase items like trash bags and cleaning supplies. This raised further suspicions about his involvement in Kelsey's disappearance. They also discovered that Patrick had reached out to an old flame and asked her to help him dispose of a body. With mounting evidence against him, the police confronted Patrick Frazee. At first, he vehemently denied any involvement in Kelsey's disappearance. However, as the weight of the evidence bore down on him, he began to crack. The turning point came when Patrick's ex-girlfriend Crystal Lee took the stand. Crystal Lee, a nurse from Idaho, faced charges for tampering with evidence related to Kelsey Barrett's disappearance and death. She admitted guilt and agreed to testify against her former boyfriend as part of a plea deal. On Thanksgiving, Lee received a call from Frazee, who informed her of a mess at Barrett's home that needed cleaning up. Lee described a gruesome scene when she arrived at Barrett's condo. Blood covered the living room, walls, carpet, and even behind a couch. She testified about finding blood on the windowsill, kitchen appliances, and stuffed animals. Lee cleaned for 4 hours to hide the truth from Barrett's mother and daughter. Anything she couldn't clean, like stuffed animals and couch pillows, she placed in a garbage bag.
First walked in, I saw blood all over the floor. I saw blood up the wall, saw blood on this wall. That's what I first saw.
All right, can you tell me what the position, where the couch was and where the coffee table was?
The couch was right here by the door.
Okay.
And the coffee table was lengthwise about 2 feet from the fireplace.
Then the officers asked her to show the blood spots she removed.
Okay.
There?
All right.
Right there.
All right, so can you go ahead and point to the first one and just let Erica tell you where to, when you're ready to take the
I don't
picture?
see it now, but it was maybe right there. I know it was down low and then
In a shocking turn of events, Patrick also eventually confessed to the murder of Kelsey Barrett. He admitted that he had beaten her to death with a baseball bat in her own home on Thanksgiving Day, all while their daughter was in another room. He claimed that he had done it in a fit of rage, fearing that Kelsey would take full custody of their child and end their relationship.
Patrick kills Kelsey in a horrific manner with a bat in the back of the head as Kelsey is sniffing candles with a blindfold over her eyes.
Patrick's confession sent shockwaves through the community, leaving everyone in disbelief that someone could commit such a heinous act, especially on a day meant for gratitude and celebration. The police, however, remained focused on their mission to bring justice to Kelsey and her grieving family. As the investigation continued, the authorities searched for Kelsey's remains. They discovered her body in a remote area near Florissant, Colorado, hidden beneath a pile of debris and discarded items. It was a heartbreaking moment for her loved ones, but at least they could finally lay her to rest with the dignity she deserved. In the ensuing court proceedings, Patrick Frazee was charged with first-degree murder and other related crimes. The evidence against him was overwhelming, including his own confession, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.